Hello, Mr. Mayor and city members, members of the City Council. My name is Louis Anthis. My address is on file with the State Bar Association. My state bar number is 263059. I'm at the corner of Examino and 4th Street. And I come to you tonight thinking about the words of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan once famously quipped that politics is supposed to be the world's second oldest profession. But it seems to me that lately it seems to have come resembled the first. But I'm also thinking about the words of anthropologist at Yale University, Ralph Linton, who wrote the book The Tree of Culture, who said actually in reality, the world's oldest profession are medicine men. And the question I have for you as council members this evening is, which profession do you belong to? The reason why I raise that is because having read the council's legislation, I'd like to say it seems it's time to move forward. And as a person who is both a patient and an attorney, I support passage of this bill this evening. But I also like to say that this process doesn't stop tonight. That like the health care debate that's going on in Washington, which was passed this week, which President Obama signed into law, this process is going to continue. And there are two issues I want to focus on tonight in the current legislation, which I hope passes. The first one is patient privacy. I want to note, first of all, that at Section 5.87030A8, the law potentially violates immigrants' rights. And I know this is a very hot issue today, and I want to make sure that everyone in the council who is up for election is aware of it. It requires the collectives to supply information about people's immigration status, and I strongly believe as a patient and as a member of the United States and as a human being that medical facilities, including patient collectives, should not report the immigration status of their members, and I hope the City Council would have the wisdom to observe the same. But also goes further than just requiring collectives to report patients' immigration status. It also violates all patients' privacies in general. Section 5.87060A2, 3, and 4 requires the collectives to report the information of both growers and also member patients of the collective. These laws that you're passing violate HIPAA laws under federal law and also state privacy laws protecting patients. And again, I would advise you to keep that in mind as we're drafting legislation for next year. The second issue I want to raise also is the fact that the law attributes criminal sanctions to managers for members' behavior. Again, Section 5.87030A8 and Section A8, and A14, and A15. First of all, I just want to point out that under state law, Section 11362.83, state law requires that city governments act consistently with state law when they pass ordinances. And I don't see how creating a classification system of two memberships is going to be consistent with state law, since the state law doesn't define that. It raises all kinds of questions about associational activity, which I also would remind you is protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And I wish that would be reflected in the ordinance as well. Finally, I'd like to say this before I leave the podium. I hope that Mr. Herbert Ernest Jr., who was arrested by the police 2 days ago in Long Beach, has had the opportunity to speak to his counsel and that he's informed of the charges brought against him. Thank you.
Thank you. I would suggest that if you have that in writing, you give it to Mr. Shannon. I'd appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Next, please.